All right. So once again, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for attending this webinar. Today, we are going to talk about AI for Extend HTML. So I believe quite a few of you that are already MPskin users are already familiar with the Extend HTML feature as a whole. Extend HTML in MPskin, has been something that has been part of MPskin since the very start of the company. So for those that don't know, Extend HTML is a functionality that is built into each skin, and it is essentially just a code editor that allows you to input HTML, JavaScript, and CSS straight into the skin. And by using these types of languages, you can change almost anything inside the tool. You can change the UI, you can implement entire features. Towards the end of last year, we developed the AI component for Extend HTML. And this is essentially just an AI bot. We've named it Devi, so it's like our little junior dev that is able to provide appropriate code for different types of skins. It is trained on the MPskin backend, on the code structure, on the different functionalities MPskin offers. And we'll be starting straight by just giving it a try. So once we open the editor over here, we get this little chat input window here on the left side. And we can use this just like we would any other type of AI. So in very simple language, we can just prompt what kind of change we're looking to do. And we'll start with somewhat of a basic example, which would be something like adding a call to action button. So a little button, I want it to be visible permanently on the screen. I want it to give me the option to either contact the owner via email or via phone. And I'm just going to ask the AI now to create me a code that does that. And I'm going to ask, can you please add a CTA button at the bottom right. Let's put it on the right side. Got some space there. That allows visitors to contact me either by phone or email. I'll provide my email here so it can actually send me the email. And then I'll also add my phone number. All right. Now all we have to do is hit enter and wait. The AI, of course, always takes a couple seconds to generate a response. Usually, the more complex the prompt or the request is, the longer it's going to take to provide a reply, which is why we're starting here with something rather simple. In the meantime, you can see up here that there's a little credits window. So what we have done, we had to figure out a bit of a fair model that allows every user that has access to the tool to actually give it a try to figure out how to work with it. So each user that is on the Pro plan has access to 250 different requests. For this bot, one request is basically the same as me sending one message to it, one answer or one question and answer. Everybody starts out with 250, and I'll show you guys later a little bit in the back end on how to purchase the credits and how much they go for. Now,
Wow.
just entered the CTA button. So whenever we get a response from the AI, we've got these three different little buttons here. The one on the right allows me to inject the code straight away and to get a preview of what I've just done. I can decide to save the code too. So as I'm working, through improving the skin, through doing different types of changes, I can select which type of code I would like to save. So if I've got a result that I really like, I can just hit save. Or if I am experienced with code, I can also just copy the code, paste it somewhere else, and then improve on it myself if I know how to develop, which personally I do not. Now, just like you would with any kind of AI, you can adjust this result. So now maybe I don't want this to be two separate buttons. I want this to be more of a like drop down. So the button should say something like contact us, and then I want a drop down for this. So I'm going to say the exact same thing to the AI. I don't want it to be two buttons. Can you do just one with contact us? And offer the two options via dropdown. Let's see. And of course, the AI is supposed to be a tool that helps our users to better utilize this very powerful feature. However, we know that it won't always be 100% perfect. It is just supposed to provide help. But something I always recommend, even if you end up getting a result that's not quite what you're looking for, just like I had it here right now, I can always go back and tell the AI, listen, it's not quite, how I imagine it to be. And you can even go and take, say, a screenshot. So I could also take just a screenshot of this button here, or just one of them, enter them right into the AI and provide feedback that way. This will come into play later a little bit more. So now we have gotten an updated code. If I press preview code here, it is going to replace the entire code with a new code. So let's do that real quick and have a look at what the result looks like. Now we have the little contact us button. And when I click it, perfect, I've got the drop down. If I click this, it should open my email client, and there we go. As easy as that. So this would be the example of a simple prompt where I've just asked it to create this little CTA button, starting with some simple changes, and I could just go ahead and save that if that is a satisfying result for me. Now, let's have a look at a bit of a more complex prompt. I have a different example here. This is a tour of a hotel in our region, and I'm going to enter. You see there's no code in here right now. I'm going to go straight into the editor. And this time I would like to show you guys something a little more complex. Here, I don't really like the menu the way that it is, and I would much rather have it be adjusted to kind of match this client's website. So I've opened the website over here. This is what the corresponding website looks like. And what I want the AI to do is to give me a menu UI for this tour that looks a little bit similar to what this website has. So I'm going to go ahead and take a screenshot of this entire page, and I'm going to go and ask it to redesign this for me. Now, just by pasting, I will also link this particular image to the rest of my prompt, and I can go ahead and send it. Now, this is going to be somewhat of a more complex prompt. So I've done the exact same prompt already a little while ago to save us some time. And over here, we see the final result. And as you can see, the regular menu that we would see up here is no longer there. And we've got a completely custom menu here with deep links, just like the ones that I'd had previously. So I can just navigate around just like I did previously with my regular tour menu. And we've also added all the other links. So if you look at these different links that are linked here, you can see at the very left bottom that it actually sends me to the corresponding page on the website. So I can just jump straight from these different ones to the website, or I can even have a book now button. So this one actually opens a pop-up for me now, and it sends me straight to the booking page. So this is a great way to integrate all these different functionalities, almost making your tour look a little bit more like a website than just a standard tour. And again, this is just a brief example of how easy something like this can be done just by taking a screenshot of the original UI. And yeah, I've got a completely custom look to it. And yeah, it's exactly what I was looking for. Now, let's have a bit of a look at what this would look like in the back end. So as I go into the AI Devi tab here, I actually have a full log of all the different things that I've prompted. So I can actually go back, scroll back to all the different things I've done in the past. If I've done something that maybe I've already successfully implemented a certain effect or a certain game on a MPskin, or maybe in the workflow, the back and forth of trying these different things, I've had a result in between that I really like better, then I can go back into these logs even days after and actually take out the code. So I can actually copy paste it. I've got all the responses here. I've got my question and answer. I can also filter them. And this is also where we see how many requests we still have, how many we've already used up, and we also see the order button. We can also sort them by user because through MPskin's user management, we're also able to assign, well, to enable different users to have access to this tool or to restrict them to have access to this tool. And now we get to the different pricing. Now, once, like I mentioned at the start, 250 credits come for free for everybody that is on the Pro plan and has access to the Extend HTML editor. For 50 euros, you can purchase 250 credits again. So this is the pricing structure that we have for this feature. Once again, 250 initial prompts are free for everybody to use, so they can really do a little bit of testing, see if it fulfills what they're looking for, and yeah, if they're happy with the final result. Now, I would like to show you a few more examples of really cool stuff. We've seen some basic things. We've seen the CTA button. We've seen some menu UI changes. Now we'll go and have some really cool additional features. So I'm going to show you this example of a tour where I've actually added a whole different feature. This is a tour of Freudenstein Castle, which is a castle here in our region. For those of you that are football fans, soccer fans, this is where I believe Manuel Neuer had his wedding last summer. And what I've done here is something that Michael earlier was asking for, which is implementing an AI agent. So when I press this little button here, you'll see that it has this little pop-up where it says garden terrace. So it indicates the current location that I am at. This is where I am. And it even has a little bit of context. It tells me a little bit about the area. And it also has a CTA button that sends me to an appropriate, action, depending on where I'm at. So here we just saw that it actually changes as I move through. And as I move closer here, this is the chapel, and it has all the information. It has, again, links for me to be able to, for example, do a direct booking for this particular, chapel, for a wedding in this case. It also has the ambience button. In this case, this is just a little bit of a play. It just shades the tour in a little bit of a warmer hue. And of course, this is just one example of how this could be used. And what I've done in this tour is I've prompted exactly what I just mentioned. I've asked the AI to create a type of AI agent for me that is supposed to provide information depending on where I'm at inside the tour. And as I'm navigating through it, it updates the content and it'll give me different types of content inside this little CTA button. I've also provided it with the different links. I've provided it with all the information necessary, partially through the tags as well. Something else we've seen a lot, especially in those past couple months, you'll see it already here on the screen, is a snow effect. So this would be another dynamic example of something that can be done with the AI. I've just asked it to put a little snow effect for me inside this tour. This one was perfect for it because we've had this really nice snow on the day that it was scanned, and it just adds a little bit of flair. It could even be set to only snow, for example, when I'm outside and not when I'm inside the space or inside one of these different chalets. So here, this is another example of something you could do with this AI. Now, let's see something else. For those of you that are already familiar with MPskin, it's something that we like to do a lot in our tours, is gamification. Gamification is a great way to just really bring additional value to a tour, also to increase the users or the visitors' engagement with the tour, to really get that time that they spend on the tour up there, to get them to interact and engage. And what I've done here is I've added a little scavenger hunt. And once I click the button here, it says, "Welcome, Hunter, find the hidden treasures in the chamber." And it gives me a task. Now it sends me to go hunting. I have the little task up here where it tells me, okay, what am I supposed to be doing inside this tour? And little cheat, I already know where the object is, so I'm just going to show you guys the result once I go there. For these types of implementations where it's a lot about the content inside the tour, it is really helpful to have tags that actually have this information, because you'll see this is the actual object that we're supposed to be looking for here. And once I click it, it says, "Yay, you found it." And now it gives me a question. If I've paid attention, I will be able to answer it. So in this case, I already know what it is. It is 1490. And once I close it, it gives me a new task. And up here, it swaps out the task that I'm supposed to be fulfilling now. And I would go back and keep looking. So this would be the example of a scavenger hunt. Once again, this is something that the AI was able to create pretty easily from just the tag content that I already had inside this tour. So this is a tour that we've already had, for years, really. Within just a few minutes, it was able to create this whole scavenger hunt for me. And once again, also a reminder, whenever you have a result that is maybe not quite what you are looking for, you can go back and prompt exactly that to the AI. So you can take a screenshot. You can go and say, listen, this up here, I need this element to be removed. I need this to be changed further to the right, and so on. So don't give up, even if on your first try a result doesn't quite work out in the way that you intended. Keep at it and provide feedback to the AI in order to get a different or improved result. All right. I would also like to show you two other tours. I'm sure some of you are familiar with the Digital Twin Awards that just took place. They just published the winners. These are two examples of tours that actually won the Digital Twin Awards. And even we hadn't seen these before we saw them on the winners board. And both of these were really cool examples of AI implementation. So this is a tour that one of our users has done as well, where it's building even further from what I showed with just the scavenger hunt by adding different types of modes essentially to this tour. So I've got the option to do a scavenger hunt. I've got the option to do the museum guide where it has more information, cockpit explorer. So it really provides all these different functionalities, just showing how far you can really go with this type of functionality. Here we even have an AI guide, so an own custom AI inside of this tour where I could go and then ask different questions. For example, the opening hours and so on, how to get a ticket. And again, all of this just done through Extend HTML, no need for external software, no need for anything like that. Then another winner from the Digital Twin Awards was this tour, a very nice pub, making you long for the weekend. And here we also have a type of game once again, where once I click on it, it has even more options for different types of games. So it gives me all these different things that I can do. And it asked me to really, once again, interact with the tour. So things like this really help to drive, again, user engagement. If the client has this tour embedded on their website, it's going to be used for a search engine values because it's going to really bring up that time the user spends on the website by playing with the space like this. So yes, this would be an example of a more mature, I would say, AI implementation. And lastly, I'm going to show you another example of just a very much customized menu. Here we have one of our own scans again that Norbert has done of the Haderburg Castle. And it is a medieval castle in our area. And you can already see just from the buttons here at the bottom, those can be changed, of course, as well, that I've really made quite a few adjustments. And when we look at the menu, we're going to see that it looks pretty much entirely different from the standard MPskin menu that you'd be familiar with. It still has all the functionality to it that the regular menu would have. It has a deep links, it has a drone view, but it has this nice medieval look to it. And in order to create this one, all I've done in terms of the design of the menu and the look to it, I've just asked the AI to create me a medieval version. And then from there, I went and I made small adjustments. I changed, for example, the color of this little logo up here, different types of functionalities here, like the language selection. And lastly, one last example that I'm going to show you guys is the cheese game. I'm sure some of you guys have already seen it in the Matterport user group where I've posted it in the past. This was the first thing I've done just to kind of see how crazy I can go with this. This is more of a bit of a silly example, but personally still one of my favorites. It just makes me laugh every time I see it. It is supposed to be a cheese treasure hunt, so the user is supposed to click on as many different cheese icons as possible. I've changed the tag icon to be cheese as well to make it even harder. And yeah, once again, while this is a bit of a silly example, it is still fun, and it would be something totally, if I saw this on somebody's website, I'd spend the 90 seconds to, like click my way through this. I even had the stop cheese button to make it a little bit easier for me to find the tags. And this would be another example of, well, an easy way to have gamification inside of a space that is not a scavenger hunt, just by having, the user click as many different cheese icons as possible. All right. Now, one thing I wanted to show you guys as well, if you're, say you're trying to use a tool and you're not really sure how to get started, what to do, you can even go in there and just ask the AI, hey, what can you do for me? Tell me about all the things you can do to enhance this tour. Let's see how long the reply takes. I'll go over a few different details in the meantime. We've got this button up here that says restart chat session. This button, if when pressed, clears the entire chat history, but also resets the space to the code that was already entered in the first place. So if there was no code inside the skin when I started, then it is going to reset to the exact same version that I started out with. So if you ever have a result where you've done a preview and you're like, all right, I want this to go away, I want to reset it, you can just press this button and you can start from scratch. So now we've got a very long reply here where the Devi bot tells us what all it can do. So this is a good place to go to when you're not sure how to really start using it, how to start testing. And it even tells you what kind of functionalities are already standard in MPskin, where you don't need to add any type of HTML implementation. But this is a great place to start if you're not quite sure how to get started with using Extend HTML. Now, I'm going to show another example. This is one of the tours Michael has done here that I mentioned earlier. This is once again just an example of a simple menu UI change. In this case, I was very vague with the prompt. If you look at what I'm prompting here, I'm just saying, can you give it a more modern look? So it's not exactly a precise instruction when it comes to AI. I did add the frosted glass effect, but other than that, not really much that I said. So the AI can really provide ideas as well. Even if you feel like you're not really sure how best to use it, you want to change something, but you're not quite certain. Once again, you can also ask the AI for that. You can even ask the AI questions that you would normally be asking us as support. This is something that has worked quite well as the AI is trained on these types of things. Sometimes if you've got a certain issue, something's not working out quite as you expect it to, you can even ask the AI to help you with that. And as you see in this example, I've changed the highlight reel UI to have this little mouse over effect. I've adjusted the menu. Just going back to what it originally looked like. This would be more of the standard view, standard MPskin menu, standard highlight reel UI. And then this is the version that we've gotten afterwards. All right. And lastly, I will show you guys another example of something that we've done. This is something we get requests for quite frequently. Something very handy, especially for facility management type use cases or for industrial clients. I wanted a feature where I'm actually able to add tags to this tour. Now, a little disclaimer, it's possible to build a feature like that. You'll see in just a moment. I've added this little CTA button here at the bottom where it says leave a note, and it allows me to simply place a tag inside the model. Now, in order for these types of tags, this type of content to remain visible across several devices and not only be session-based, I would need to link some kind of external database. This sounds complicated, but it doesn't really need to be. It could be as easy as just a G sheet, just somewhere that the AI is able to pull the data from, because the AI does not have direct access to the tags editor in the backend. So for example, this type of tag, even when being linked with a database, would not appear in the tag list overview. However, this could be done through our brand new API. So we just released an API, some of you already know. And in theory, I'd be able to provide the AI with that API key and to then access the actual tag backend. So this is going more into deeper technical implementations. I've got one last one of the image upload. So once again, that's a great benefit in order to really work on fine-tuning changes that you might have already done to the tour and it's not quite what you're wanting it to be. Just take a screenshot, upload it, tell the AI what to change, and it will do its best to provide you a good result. And here we see the same kind of workflow that I've done earlier, where I've just taken a screenshot of a website and I've told the AI to please recreate this type of menu UI for me, to restructure the menu, to adjust the nav bar. Of course, it's sped up here a little bit. But yeah, it does exactly that. So it gave me this nice little overview. It gives me the same top-centered nav bar. Yeah, and it can be as easy as that using this feature. All right. Now, I think I've went over or I've gone over the majority of the important requests. Once again, you've got access to all the logs here in this tab. This is something we've added like a couple weeks after we launched the feature. So some of you might not be familiar with this yet. This is helpful for, again, retrieving all types of code that you've previously worked with. And yeah, we're impressed each and every day with some of the things that we're seeing clients implement, from simple things like just adjusting the menu. We've seen somebody do an implementation where instead of this falling snow effect, the user or the visitor could choose between it raining snow, pigs, and like Lucky Charms and things like that. So there's no limit really to what you would like to do with this type of feature. You're always limited only by your own ideas and creativity. And it is really a very powerful tool that lets you customize these types of tours with almost no limit. It has access to the SDK. There's so many cool things you can do with it. We continue to see cool projects every day. And one small note, however, that I do need to leave for this is, some of you know what's coming now, is we cannot provide support for these customizations. So we're unable to give you direct instructions or to fix the code when something's not quite working as you intended it to. However, once again, I always recommend, even when you're kind of stuck in a thread and you're trying to get the AI to make a change and something's not, going in the direction you're wanting it to, you can even reset the whole chat, take the code you've already had, the full code, give it back to the AI and tell it what it should be changing. I encourage everybody to give this cool tool a try. Everybody can create a trial account in MPskin as well. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what's coming with this tool, and I'm now ready for any and all questions that you guys might have. All right, let me have a quick look through the questions.
Can I
Oh,
ask you?
yes, of course. Any questions,
Yeah.
welcome.
How did you limit the info button and at the castle to its location? I mean, as you scroll through the garden, it changes the garden terrace suddenly to castle grounds. So the you did you limit the scan points to this information, or how does this work?
So the AI has access to two different data points in this case. I mean, of course, it sees the sweet points, but they don't mean anything to the AI without context, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking to do any kind of implementation like this, where you want the AI to actually be able to have some sort of interaction with the location it is actually at inside the space, it is definitely beneficial to have tags, because tags,
Mm-hmm.
basically what I'm thinking it's doing here is it's drawing like a circle of like where I'm closest to right now, which is why it's changing. Here I'm next to the chapel, so it tells me about the chapel. When I move away from it, it moves back to castle grounds, just where I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
And here we've got the garden terrace tag. So I'm assuming the closer I'm moving to it, it still says castle grounds here. I'm still, here on the pebble. And now that I'm moving closer to this tag, it gives me the garden terrace. And that's, and you can even see it pretty much it's not exactly the same as the tag content, but it is pretty close. And of course, you could just provide it with additional information if you would like to do that.
Hey Mia, thanks again for presenting today. Aaron Chute here. How are you?
Hello, hey Aaron, I'm great. How are you?
Doing great. Yeah, I got to play around with this a few weeks ago when you released it, and I was very impressed. I created a quick gamification that was timed, and gave a ranking for people at a conference to do a bit of a treasure hunt throughout the vendor booths. So
That's
very
cool.
powerful tool. And just to save on some prompt funds, I guess, what I would do is I would use my chat GPT to instruct what I was working on and helped give me a good
Yes.
prompt. And then that saved a lot of back and forth. So just a heads up, that's a good way to save some power. So I know
Yes.
AI uses a lot of energy, so
Yes.
that's one way
For
you could do
sure.
that. So
For sure. We're not going to be mad at anybody that externalizes this type of work to another AI. We did initially, most of you probably know, initially we did not have any kind of limitation or credit system for this feature. And initially we didn't intend to, but we just saw, the costs kind of coming in because at the
yep.
start, of course, it took some time, for people to start using it. And we just had to come up with something that is a fair deal where we don't make a big loss on the feature. So of course, you can just go, since the AI always provides you with a code output, you can take that, go to your external AI. You could even give it a couple examples. You could even ask it to give you some pointers. You could go in there and say, listen, I want to train my own ChatGPT or whatever AI you use to help me do these types of implementations. Can you give me all the most important information so I can train my own AI? You could do that as well. So you're completely free to do whatever you like with it. And of course, make use of the credits by putting together precise prompts. That is helpful as well. And yes, Norbert just said it in the chat as well. We're using Gemini to power this feature.
Excellent. Appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.
No worries. So I just saw a couple questions for the API, so I'm just going to briefly go over that a little bit more as well. It's also something we've just launched not too long ago, and we've developed it for the time being for only tags and passwords. So having the API would allow you to create external scripts that are then able to access the model or, well, your entire backend. It is something that is definitely more privy to people or to developers and technical tech-savvy people. But it is finally an option to manage tag content or passwords externally. So a use case for passwords for this would be, for example, to have a type of paywall for a tour. Something you could do would be creating a system where, for example, somebody has to pay a certain amount of money, and then once they've made their purchase, they've made the payment, the API creates a new password that is custom to this one user or this one client, and then provides this password after the purchase has been done. So this would be the classic example for a password API. And then for tags, it's pretty plain and simple. It's just the creation, management, or deletion of tags inside the tour. So this is typically something that is useful for either a really large amount of tags, if somebody needs to manage a lot of them and would rather do it externally, updating product catalogs and so on, things like that. Or also for integration of IoT, so Internet of Things type integrations, where you're having different types of data that you want to read or send through the tags. So those would be the examples. The API costs 30 euros a month or 300 euros for the whole year. So it is, I would say, quite affordable. It's not very expensive. The whole documentation for it can be seen here at the very back. Yeah, I hope that answered your questions, Sven and Mantas. Once again, I hope we'll be able to have some more examples in the future. Okay. I won't keep you guys any longer than necessary. Thank you so much, everybody, for attending. I hope it gave you some insight. I hope it piqued your interest and gave you some inspiration for what all can be done with MPskin with Extend HTML. Once again, feel free to reach out to either Norbert or myself at either support@mpskin.com or mia@mpskin.com for any kinds of questions. We're continuing to be excited about all the different things we're seeing being implemented. So yeah, good luck testing everything. Have a great afternoon or day. I'll see you guys soon.
Thank you very much. Very
Thanks,
inspiring.
everybody.
Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys. Take care. Bye.